Alex Morrison sat in the empty library at 3 in the morning, staring at equations that made no sense to anyone else. The numbers flowed across his notebook like water, each calculation leading to the next as if he had done this math 1,000 times before. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the clock. He had been working for 6 hours straight, the quantum mechanics problem that had stumped his entire class for weeks now seemed simple to him. Too simple. Alex wrote down the answer in less than 10 minutes, then checked his work 3 times. Every calculation was perfect. Every step made sense. But something felt wrong about how easy it had been. He packed his books and walked back to his dorm room. His roommate Kevin Brown was still awake, playing video games with headphones on. Kevin looked up when Alex came in. "Dude, you look terrible. Have you been in the library all night again?" Alex nodded and dropped his backpack on his desk. "Yeah, but I finished the assignment. Finally figured out the quantum field equations." Kevin paused his game. "Wait, you mean the impossible one? The one Professor Wells said would take us weeks to solve?" "It wasn't that hard once I understood the pattern," Alex said. He pulled out his notebook and showed Kevin the pages of neat handwriting. Kevin stared at the equations. He was a smart engineering student, but this math looked like a foreign language to him. "Alex, this is crazy. How did you do all this?" Alex shrugged. "I don't know. It just came to me. Like I remembered how to do it instead of learning it." The next morning, Alex turned in his assignment to Dr. Catherine Wells. She was a tough professor who had been teaching quantum mechanics for 20 years. Most students struggled with her advanced classes, but Alex always seemed to understand concepts that took others months to grasp. Dr. Wells looked at Alex's paper during her lunch break. Her coffee grew cold as she read through his work. And math was not just correct, it was brilliant. Alex had found shortcuts and connections that she had never seen before. Some of his equations looked familiar, but she could not remember where. She had seen them. She walked to her computer and started searching through physics journals. After an hour of looking, she found what bothered her. Parts of Alex's work matched theoretical papers about alien technology that had been published in classified government reports. Reports that no student should have access to. Dr. Wells picked up her phone and called her old friend at the Department of Energy. "Hi, it's Catherine Wells at MIT. I need to talk to someone about a student. I think we might have a problem." 3 days later, Agent Lisa Parker sat in her FBI office reading Alex Morrison's file. She worked for the Science and Technology Division, where her job was to watch for unusual discoveries that might affect national security. The alert about Alex had come through the automated monitoring system that tracked academic publications. Agent Parker had seen cases like this before. Usually, they turned out to be students who had found classified information online or professors who shared too much with their classes. But Alex's case was different. His work contained mathematical proofs that matched fragments from the Aurora files, classified reports about extraterrestrial encounters that only a few dozen people in the government knew about. She studied Alex's background. He was 20 years old, adopted as a baby, and had always been exceptionally bright. His adoptive parents were normal middle-class people with no connections to government or military work. His grades were perfect, but he had no close friends except his roommate Kevin. Teachers described him as quiet and thoughtful, someone who solved problems by instinct rather than study. Agent Parker decided to start surveillance. She needed to understand how Alex had developed these equations before deciding what to do next. The FBI had protocols for dealing with potential security breaches, but Alex did not fit the normal patterns. The surveillance team followed Alex for a week. His routine was simple and boring. He went to classes, studied in the library, ate meals with Kevin, and slept. He did not use the internet to search for classified information. He did not meet with suspicious people. He just studied and solved impossible math problems. Agent Parker reviewed the surveillance reports in her office. Something was very wrong with this case. Alex was not stealing information or working with foreign agents. He was creating new mathematical frameworks that should not exist in human knowledge. The implications made her uncomfortable. She called Dr. Rachel Kim, a specialist who consulted for the FBI on unusual scientific cases. Dr. Kim had a background in genetics and had worked on classified projects involving non-human biological samples. "Need you to look at something," Agent Parker said. "We have a student who is producing math that matches theoretical alien technology, but he has no access to the source material." Dr. Kim arrived at the FBI office the next day. She studied Alex's equations and compared them to the Aurora files. The similarities were undeniable. "This is impossible," Dr. Kim said. "These mathematical principles were developed by analyzing recovered alien artifacts. No human should be able to derive them independently." "But he did," Agent Parker replied. "And his professor says he does. This kind of thing all the time. He solves problems that should be impossible for undergraduate students." Dr. Kim was quiet for a long moment. "I want to see his medical records, and I want to know more about how he was adopted." Agent Parker spent the next day gathering information about Alex's early life. The adoption records were sealed, but her FBI credentials opened doors. What she found made her hands shake as she read the files. Alex had been found as an infant in the Nevada desert, 20 miles from Area 51. The people who found him were camping when they saw strange lights in the sky. They discovered the baby the next morning, healthy and alone, with no sign of his parents or how he had gotten there. Military personnel had arrived within hours and classified the entire incident. The campers were told to never speak about what they had seen. The baby was placed in the adoption system with a new identity and sealed records. Agent Parker called Dr. Kim with the news. "We need to talk in person." This case just became much more complicated. That evening, as Alex worked, late in the library again, he had no idea that his entire life was about to change. He wrote equations that felt like memories, solved problems that seemed familiar, and dreamed of technologies that did not exist on Earth. He was about to learn that being the smartest student at MIT was the least interesting thing about him. Agent Lisa Parker met Dr. Rachel Kim at a secure government facility outside Washington, D.C. The building looked like a normal office complex, but the basement levels contained some of the most classified research labs in the country. Dr. Kim led Agent Parker through multiple security checkpoints until they reached a small conference room. "I've been thinking about the Alex Morrison case all night," Dr. Kim said as she opened a thick file folder. "The timing of his discovery, the location, the mathematical abilities. None of it makes sense for a normal human child." Agent Parker sat down and looked at the documents Dr. Kim had spread across the table. Medical charts, genetic analysis reports, and photographs of strange symbols filled the pages. "I ran some tests on biological samples from the Aurora files," Dr. Kim continued. "The mathematical principles in Alex's work match exactly with technology we recovered from 3 different crash sites. But here's what's really interesting. I think I know why." Dr. Kim pulled out a genetic analysis chart. "I got access to Alex's medical records from when he was first found. The doctors who examined him noted some unusual blood work, but they didn't understand what they were seeing. Look at this." Agent Parker studied the chart. She was not a scientist, but even she could see that something was different about Alex's blood chemistry. "What am I looking at?" "Trace elements that don't exist naturally on Earth," Dr. Kim explained, "and genetic markers that suggest non-human DNA mixed with human genes. Alex isn't just a smart kid, Lisa. He's a hybrid. The room was quiet for a long moment. Agent Parker had worked on strange cases before, but this was beyond anything she had encountered. Are you saying Alex is part alien? I'm saying Alex carries genetic material from an extraterrestrial species. The mathematical knowledge isn't learned, it's inherited. Built into his DNA, like instincts are built into animals. Agent Parker leaned back in her chair. If this is true, then Alex represents either the greatest opportunity or the greatest threat humanity has ever faced. Meanwhile, Alex was having the strangest week of his life. He had started having vivid dreams every night. In the dreams, he walked through cities made of glass and metal that reached into the clouds. He saw machines that moved without engines and ships that traveled between stars in the blink of an eye. The dreams felt more real than his waking life. During the day, he found himself drawing pictures of the technologies he had seen. Complex blueprints for devices that combined human engineering with principles he did not understand. His girlfriend Amanda Stone noticed the change in his behavior. "Alex, you've been acting weird lately," Amanda said as they sat together in the campus coffee shop. "You barely talk to me anymore, and you're always drawing those strange diagrams." Alex looked at the notebook in front of him. He had been sketching the design for an energy generator without realizing it. The device could power an entire city using a reaction that should have been impossible according to Earth science. "I'm sorry," Alex said. "I've been having these dreams, and they feel so real, like memories of a life I never lived." Amanda looked at his drawings. The mathematical symbols and technical diagrams were far beyond anything taught in college classes. "Where are these ideas coming from?" "I don't know," Alex admitted. "But when I draw them, it feels like I'm remembering something I used to know." That afternoon, Dr. Catherine Wells called Alex to her office. She looked worried as she closed the door behind him. "Alex, I need to ask you some questions about your recent work," she said. "The equations you've been turning in are remarkable, but they're also raising concerns." Alex sat down across from her desk. "Did I make a mistake?" "No, quite the opposite. Your work is too advanced. You're solving problems that should be impossible for anyone without access to classified research. I need to know where you're getting these ideas." Alex felt confused and frustrated. "I'm not getting them from anywhere. They just make sense to me. Like when you remember how to ride a bike, you don't think about it. You just know." Dr. Wells studied his face. She had been teaching for decades and had learned to read students well. Alex was telling the truth, which made the situation even more troubling. "Alex, I'm going to be honest with you. Your work matches theoretical research that most people don't have access to. Government agencies are starting to ask questions." Alex's stomach dropped. "Government agencies? What kind of questions?" "The kind that suggest you might be in some kind of trouble. I think you should be careful about what you publish and who you talk to." That evening, Alex called his adoptive parents, John and Mary Morrison. They lived in a small town in Ohio and had raised him with love and support, even though they sometimes worried about how different he was from other children. "Mom, I need to ask you something about when you found me," Alex said over the phone. Mary Morrison was quiet for a moment. "Alex, honey, we've told you everything we know. We found you in the desert when you were just a baby. But what exactly happened that night? You've always been vague about the details." John Morrison took the phone. "Son, there are some things about that night that we were told never to discuss. Government people made us sign papers." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "What kind of government people?" "Military. They said it was for national security. We were just happy to give you a good home." Alex hung up the phone feeling more confused than ever. He walked to his dorm room window and looked out at the night sky. For the first time in his life, the stars did not look distant and peaceful. They looked like a vast network of civilizations that he somehow knew are out there. Kevin found him standing at the window an hour later. "You okay, man? You look like you've seen a ghost." Alex turned to his roommate. Kevin had been his friend for 2 years, and Alex trusted him more than anyone else. "Kevin, what would you say if I told you I think I might not be completely human?" Kevin laughed. "Dude, I've been saying that about you since freshman year. You're too smart to be from this planet." Alex did not laugh. "I'm serious. I think something happened to me when I was a baby. Something the government doesn't want people to know about." Kevin's smile faded as he realized Alex was not joking. "What are you talking about?" Before Alex could answer, his phone rang. A caller ID showed a number he did not recognize. "Alex Morrison?" a woman's voice said when he answered. "Yes, my name is Agent Lisa Parker with the FBI. I think it's time we talked." Alex Morrison met Agent Lisa Parker at a small cafe near the MIT campus. He had not slept all night after her phone call. His mind raced with questions about what the FBI wanted with him. Agent Parker arrived exactly on time, wearing a simple black suit and carrying a briefcase. "Thank you for meeting me, Alex," she said as she sat down across from him. "I know this must be confusing." Alex studied her face. She looked tired, like someone who had been working on a difficult case for weeks. "Are you here to arrest me?" "No, I'm here to help you understand what's happening to you. But first, I need you to trust me." Agent Parker opened her briefcase and pulled out a folder. "How much do you know about your adoption?" "Not much. My parents found me in the desert when I was a baby. They've always been vague about the details." Agent Parker nodded. "That's because they were asked to keep quiet by the government." "Alex, you weren't just found in the desert. You were found at the site of an extraterrestrial encounter." Alex stared at her. "You're joking." "I wish I was." 20 years ago, your adoptive parents were camping near Area 51 when they saw unusual lights in the sky. The next morning, they found you alone with no sign of how you got there. Military teams arrived within hours and classified the entire incident. Alex felt dizzy. "You're saying aliens left me there?" "We think one of your biological parents was human, and the other was from an advanced alien species we call the architects. The mathematical abilities you have are genetic memories passed down through alien DNA." Agent Parker showed him photographs from classified files. Pictures of crash sites, strange technology, and mathematical symbols that looked exactly like the ones Alex had been drawing in his notebooks. "This is impossible," Alex said, but even as he spoke, something deep inside him recognized the images. They felt familiar, like photographs from a childhood he could not quite remember. "I know it's hard to believe, but we have proof, Dr. Rachel. Kim has analyzed your genetic structure. You carry markers that don't exist in normal human DNA." Alex's hands shook as he looked through the files. "If this is true, what does it mean? What am I supposed to do?" "That's what we need to figure out. You're not the only one, Alex. We've identified several other individuals with similar genetic markers. Most of them don't even know what they are yet." Agent Parker pulled out another file. "We call it Project Synthesis. It's a classified program designed to study people like you and prepare for the possibility of contact with the architects or other alien species." Alex closed the files and pushed them back across the table. "I don't want any part of this. I just want to finish college and live a normal life. I'm afraid that's not possible anymore." "Your abilities are getting stronger, aren't they?" "The dreams are becoming more vivid. You're starting to understand technologies that shouldn't exist." Alex nodded reluctantly. She was right. Every day brought new memories that felt ancient and foreign. Last night he had dreamed of a planet with 2 suns and cities that floated in the clouds. What happens if I refuse to cooperate? Agent Parker's expression became serious. There are people in the government who see you as a threat rather than an opportunity. Agent Carl Rogers from a Shadow Division believes that alien influence should be eliminated to protect human independence. If he gets approval to move against you, I won't be able to protect you. Before Alex could respond, his phone buzzed with a text message from Kevin. Emergency at the dorm. Come back now. Alex showed the message to Agent Parker. She frowned and checked her own phone. Something's wrong. My surveillance team isn't responding. They rushed back to the MIT campus together. As they approached Alex's dormitory, they could see emergency vehicles and a crowd of students gathering outside. Agent. Parker spoke into a small radio. This is Parker. What's the situation at the Morrison location? A voice crackled back. Unknown agents have taken the subject's roommate. They left a message for Morrison. Alex felt panic rising in his chest. They took Kevin? Who took Kevin? Agent Parker grabbed his arm. Probably Rogers and his team. They're using your friend as leverage to force you to come in. They found campus security holding an envelope with Alex's name on it. Inside was a simple message. If you want to see your roommate alive, come to Building 7 at the Westfield Industrial Complex. Come alone, no FBI. I have to go, Alex said. Kevin didn't ask for any of this. It's a trap. Rogers wants to eliminate you and anyone who knows about your abilities. If you go there alone, you'll both be killed. Alex looked at Agent Parker. Then what do you suggest? We go together. But first, you need to understand something important. Your abilities aren't just intellectual anymore. The genetic memories are awakening other capabilities. Physical enhancements, sensory improvements, maybe even telepathic connections to alien technology. As if responding to her words, Alex suddenly felt a strange tingling in his mind. Images flashed through his consciousness. Not memories this time, but real-time visions of Kevin tied to a chair in a concrete room. He could see his friend's face, frightened but unharmed. I can see him, Alex whispered. Kevin's in a basement somewhere. There are 3 men with him, and they have weapons. Agent Parker stared at him. You're developing remote viewing abilities. This confirms what we suspected about your genetic heritage. Alex felt something changing inside him. The alien part of his nature was awakening in response to the threat against his friend. Knowledge and capabilities he had never possessed before began flowing through his mind like water breaking through a dam. The architects left more than just genetic memories, he said, his voice sounding different even to himself. They left tools, weapons, technologies hidden in my DNA that activate when needed. Agent Parker pulled out her phone. I'm calling for backup. Rogers doesn't know what he's dealing with. Alex stopped her. No, this is bigger than just saving Kevin. Rogers represents everything wrong with how humans react to things they don't understand. Fear, violence, the need to destroy anything different. He looked at his hands and saw faint patterns of light moving under his skin. The architects didn't abandon their children here. They left us to help humanity grow beyond those limitations. It's time I started living up to that responsibility. Agent Parker realized that Alex was no longer just a confused college student. Something ancient and powerful was awakening inside him, and she was about to witness the first real demonstration of what human-alien hybrid capabilities could accomplish. Let's go save my friend, Alex said, and then we're going to have a serious conversation with Agent Rogers about the future of humanity. Alex Morrison and Agent Lisa Parker drove toward the Westfield Industrial Complex as the sun began to set. Alex could feel his alien abilities growing stronger with each passing minute. The patterns of light under his skin were becoming brighter, and his mind was accessing memories that belonged to his architect father. I can sense other hybrids nearby, Alex said as they approached the complex. There are at least 3 others in the area. Rogers must have gathered us all here. Agent Parker checked her weapon. My backup team is 5 minutes behind us. We need to get inside and assess the situation before they arrive. Alex closed his eyes and extended his newfound senses. Through the walls of the industrial building, he could see Kevin tied to a chair in the basement. But he also saw something else that made his blood run cold. There are alien devices in that building, Alex said. Rogers has been collecting architect technology. He's planning to use it as a weapon. They parked outside Building 7 and approached on foot. Alex could hear electronic humming that sounded like the alien machines from his dreams. As they reached the main entrance, the door opened automatically. Agent Carl Rogers stood waiting for them with 2 armed men. He was older than Agent Parker, with gray hair and cold eyes that showed no emotion. Mr. Morrison, Rogers said, thank you for coming. And Agent Parker, you're not supposed to be here. Let Kevin go, Alex demanded. He has nothing to do with this. Rogers smiled without warmth. Your friend is fine for now, but his safety depends on your cooperation. You see, Alex, I've been studying your kind for years. I know what you really are. He led them through hallways lined with glass cases containing alien artifacts. Strange metals, glowing crystals, and devices that seemed to shift shape as Alex watched them. The architects were not the benevolent teachers your FBI friends want you to believe, Rogers continued. They were conquerors who seeded the galaxy with their genetic weapons. Hybrids like you are designed to prepare planets for invasion. Alex felt anger building inside him. The alien part of his nature responded to Rogers' hostile intentions. You're wrong. The architects were explorers and teachers. They helped species evolve beyond primitive violence. Prove it, Rogers said as they descended into the basement. Show me these peaceful intentions while I demonstrate what happens to worlds that accept alien influence. They entered a large underground chamber where Kevin sat tied to a chair, surrounded by humming alien devices. 3 other young people were chained to the walls, 2 men and a woman who looked about Alex's age. All of them had the same faint light patterns under their skin that Alex was developing. Meet your fellow hybrids, Rogers said. Ben Carter from Colorado, Sophie Grant from Texas, and Danny White from Florida. All found as babies under mysterious circumstances. All showing the same impossible abilities. Alex could feel the fear and confusion from the other hybrids. But underneath their terror, he sensed something else. Power waiting to be awakened. Rogers activated a control panel, and the alien devices began glowing brighter. These machines were designed to suppress hybrid abilities, but I've modified them. Instead of suppression, they'll cause a feedback loop that will destroy your alien genetics permanently. That will kill them, Agent Parker said, raising her weapon. Sometimes sacrifices must be made to protect humanity's independence, Rogers replied. His men pointed their guns at Parker. Alex felt the alien technology responding to his presence. The devices Rogers thought he controlled were actually recognizing their architect origins. Ancient protocols built into the machines began activating. You made one mistake, Rogers, Alex said as energy began flowing through the room. You assumed you could control architect technology without understanding it. The light patterns under Alex's skin suddenly blazed brighter. The other hybrids gasped as their own abilities activated in response. Kevin's restraints unlocked automatically. As the alien machines recognized the presence of architect descendants. The devices aren't weapons, Alex continued, his voice carrying harmonics that seemed to come from somewhere beyond Earth. They're awakening chambers. You've just activated the genetic inheritance of 4 hybrid children at once. Rogers frantically pressed buttons on his control panel, but the machines no longer responded to his commands. The alien technology was following deeper programming that prioritized the safety and development of hybrid Offspring Got Ben Carter broke free from his chains with strength that surprised everyone. Sophie Grant's eyes began glowing as she accessed memories spanning centuries. Danny White raised his hand, and the electronic locks on all the doors opened simultaneously. "This is impossible," Rogers shouted. Human technology controls alien devices, not the other way around. Alex stepped forward, fully embracing both his human emotions and alien heritage. "That's where you're wrong. The architects didn't create weapons or tools for conquest. They created children. And children protect each other." The four hybrids joined hands, and suddenly the entire building filled with energy that made the air itself seem alive. Through their connection, Alex could sense something incredible happening around the world. Other hybrids were awakening in response to their unified call. Agent Parker watched in amazement as holographic displays appeared in the air, showing star maps and communication networks that spanned the galaxy. The technology Rogers had tried to weaponize was actually a beacon system designed to announce when hybrid children had reached maturity. "The architects are coming back," Sophie Grant said, her voice carrying knowledge that belonged to her alien parent, not to conquer, but to welcome humanity into the galactic community. Rogers raised his weapon toward Alex, but Kevin tackled him before he could fire. The gun went off harmlessly into the ceiling as Rogers hit the ground. "It's over," Agent Parker said, pointing her weapon at Rogers' men. "Stand down." Alex looked at his fellow hybrids and felt a deep sense of completeness he had never experienced before. For the first time in his life, he was not alone with his strange abilities and impossible knowledge. "The real work starts now," he said. "Humanity needs to understand that we're not their enemies or their replacements. We're bridges between worlds." Through the alien communication network, Alex sent a message across space to the architect's ships traveling toward Earth. The message was simple but powerful. Humanity was ready to join the stars. Guided by children who carried the best of both species in their hearts, as dawn broke over the industrial complex, Alex Morrison was no longer just a brilliant student who had caught the FBI's eye. He was humanity's first ambassador to a galaxy full of wonders waiting to be discovered. The hybrid children had awakened, and Earth's isolation was finally coming to an end. The future belonged to those brave, enough to embrace both their human courage and their alien wisdom. And Alex knew that humanity was ready for that challenge.